You never know. You never know. There's 6 pockets on the table. There's 6 pockets on the table! There's 6 of them, you know! And he's on the grid!
91. 94. Very tight.
It's close to the pocket. Oh my word, it's gone in. Can you believe it?
What a thing to happen.
What a match. What a decider. What a sport.
And all
fabulous shot. Very good plan when you consider that all those balls are 3 or 4 inches apart. He was concentrated more on the white, though, than the pot, probably.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, one of snooker's most accomplished players, has withdrawn from another tournament, adding to the growing list of events he has missed in recent months. The World Snooker Tour confirmed his withdrawal from the Weide Cup World Open in China, citing medical reasons. This announcement follows a pattern of repeated withdrawals, sparking discussions regarding O'Sullivan's health, his future in the sport, and the broader implications for snooker. The WST statement, which was posted on Tuesday afternoon, read, "Ronnie O'Sullivan has pulled out of next week's Weide Cup World Open for medical reasons. O'Sullivan was due to face Stuart Carrington in the opening round this Sunday, but instead he will be replaced by the highest-ranked available player on the 2024 Q School Order of Merit, Daniel Womersley. The tournament in Yushan, China, runs from February 23rd to March 1st. The Weide Cup World Open, scheduled to take place in Yushan, China, from February 23rd to March 1st, features a prize fund of $175,000. O'Sullivan was set to face Stuart Carrington in the first round. His absence has led to Daniel Womersley, the highest-ranked available player from the 2024 Q School Order of Merit, taking his place in the tournament draw. This marks yet another significant change in the event lineup, with O'Sullivan's withdrawal affecting both the competitive balance and spectator interest. O'Sullivan's decision to withdraw has not come as a surprise, given his recent track record. The snooker star last played competitively in January at the Championship League, where he experienced a turbulent run. He suffered 4 defeats in 5 matches and, in a moment of frustration, snapped his cue. Before his final group stage match against Ali Carter, he withdrew from the competition entirely. This incident was a precursor to further withdrawals that followed in quick succession. Earlier in the season, O'Sullivan withdrew from the prestigious Masters tournament just over a day before his scheduled match against John Higgins, citing exhaustion. Shortly thereafter, he pulled out of the German Masters before the tournament began. His absence continued at the Welsh Open, where he withdrew merely hours before his match against Jamie Clark. These withdrawals have contributed to an unprecedented number of missed events, with O'Sullivan now having pulled out of 9 tournaments in the 2024-25 season alone. The frequency of these decisions has raised questions about his long-term participation in professional snooker and the toll that the sport has taken on him both physically and mentally. In response to concerns from fans and the snooker community, O'Sullivan took to social media to issue an apology. He acknowledged the disappointment caused by his last-minute withdrawals and emphasized that his primary focus remains on his health and well-being. He stated, "I've been trying to prioritize my health and well-being, which sometimes means making last-minute decisions not to play. It's never an easy decision, and I hate letting people down." This statement reflects his ongoing struggles with balancing competitive play and personal challenges, reinforcing the idea that his career trajectory remains uncertain. O'Sullivan's absence has raised significant speculation regarding his future in professional snooker. 7-time world champion Stephen Hendry weighed in on the situation, expressing his belief that O'Sullivan is likely to return at the World Grand Prix in Hong Kong on March 4th, where he is the defending champion. Hendry highlighted O'Sullivan's enjoyment of playing in China and the relatively lower pressure of exhibition matches as factors that could influence his return. However, Matthew Selt voiced a more pessimistic outlook, suggesting that O'Sullivan may not return until the World Championship in April, or possibly not at all. Matthew Selt said, "You might not see him until the Worlds, and then there's a chance he might not even play at them. I think it will be a sad day for snooker. You have fans, snooker fans, and Ronnie fans. There aren't many who don't like watching him play, even if you're not a fan of his. It would be the end of an era." This is not the first time O'Sullivan has taken an extended break from snooker. During the 2012-13 season, he stepped away from competitive play, only to make a triumphant return by winning the World Championship. Given his past record, some believe that his current string of withdrawals may be temporary, with the possibility of another dramatic comeback. However, there are also those who believe that his continued absences may signal a more permanent decision regarding his playing career, particularly as he has frequently expressed frustration with the demands of the sport. O'Sullivan's withdrawals have had a noticeable effect on the tournaments he has missed. His status as snooker's biggest draw means that his absence leaves a significant void at events. The Welsh Open, for example, saw top seeds such as Judd Trump and Kyron Wilson either withdrawing or being eliminated early, shifting the focus of the tournament. This unpredictability has both positive and negative consequences for the sport, as it opens the field for emerging players while also diminishing the overall spectacle. Beyond the immediate impact on tournaments, O'Sullivan's situation has reignited conversations about the pressures of professional snooker. He has long been open about his struggles with mental health, and these challenges have played a role in his decisions to withdraw from events. In previous interviews, O'Sullivan has discussed the difficulties of maintaining motivation and dealing with the demands of the sport. The exhaustion he cited as a reason for his Masters withdrawal aligns with his past statements on the mental and physical toll of continuous competition. These factors contribute to the ongoing debate about whether structural changes are needed to better support players dealing with similar issues. Speaking about his Masters withdrawal, O'Sullivan had explained, "I've been on this 3-week trip away playing, and I think I just exhausted myself. It's a lot of pressure. The buildup of all that got a bit too much. I lost the plot on Thursday, snapped my cue, so that's unplayable. I just knew at that moment in time, the right decision was to not play. And in such a big tournament, I thought whoever was going to come in should at least have a couple of days' notice." While some support his decision to prioritize his health and well-being, others express frustration over the frequency and timing of his withdrawals. Given his influence on the sport and his enduring popularity, his absence generates significant debate about the future of snooker. Some believe that his continued struggles highlight a larger issue within professional snooker, one that extends beyond a single player and calls for broader conversations about player well-being and the structure of the competitive calendar. O'Sullivan's legacy in snooker is already well established, with multiple world titles and a career spanning decades. However, his recent struggles raise important questions about how much longer he intends to compete at the highest level. Whether this is a temporary phase or a signal of an impending retirement remains to be seen. With each withdrawal, the uncertainty surrounding his future grows, leaving fans and the snooker community awaiting his next move. Ronnie O'Sullivan, widely regarded as one of the greatest snooker players of all time, has recently made headlines for reasons that extend far beyond his prowess on the green baize. O'Sullivan has withdrawn from the Masters tournament on medical grounds, mere hours after revealing in an interview with The Telegraph that taking up snooker was the worst life choice he ever made. This startling admission, along with his sudden withdrawal from the prestigious tournament, has shocked the snooker world and beyond. O'Sullivan, aged 49, was set to begin his campaign for a record-extending 9th Masters title at Alexandra Palace on Sunday. His withdrawal comes as a significant blow to the tournament, given his status as the defending champion. The announcement is particularly poignant as it follows closely on the heels of O'Sullivan pulling out of his final Championship League group game just a day earlier. In his revealing interview with The Telegraph, O'Sullivan laid bare his conflicted feelings about his illustrious career in snooker. He said, "In some ways, I wish I had a different job. I'm fortunate in many ways because it's been good to me, but I wish I'd been good at something else." These words, coming from a player who has dominated the sport for decades and earned more than 14 million pounds in prize money, paint a sad picture of a man at odds with his own success. O'Sullivan's revelation comes as a stark contrast to the image of the confident, sometimes brash player that fans have come to know over the years. He expressed a desire for a more intellectually stimulating career path, stating he would have preferred something more educational, maybe a scientist or something more interesting. This longing for a different life path raises profound questions about the nature of success and personal fulfillment in professional sports. The 7-time world champion went further, dismissing snooker as more of an entertainment, more of a brutality sport. He specifically mentioned wanting a life similar to that of sports psychiatrist Steve Peters, or to inspire people in a different way, like helping to cure cancer. These statements reveal a deep-seated desire for a career with what O'Sullivan perceives as more meaningful impact. O'Sullivan's comments shed light on the often overlooked downsides of professional snooker. The solitary nature of the sport emerges as a significant drawback. "It's too much time on your own," O'Sullivan explained. "I'd rather do something where you're trying to cure something and you've got a team of people." This insight into the psychological challenges of individual sports highlights the mental fortitude required to excel at the highest levels. The champion elaborated on the psychological toll of competing alone. He said, "I found just being on my own. It's quite hard because you've got to motivate yourself. You've got to push yourself. You've got to figure out all the answers yourself." O'Sullivan's preference for team environments becomes clear as he adds, "If I was in a team environment, I think I'd have enjoyed that camaraderie." Perhaps the most heart-wrenching part of O'Sullivan's interview was his admission of past drug and alcohol abuse. In a confession, he revealed his biggest regret: going out, drinking, partying, and taking Class A drugs.
Process of kind of getting well, if you like, was to try and find a higher power. A lot of people went to religion. I thought, I'm not really down with rules, you know, I'm not good with rules. So I thought, anyone telling me that I've got to do this and do that and do this and do that, I was like, you know, but I tried it and I can see why people like it, and it can work. It can work for some people. It can work for some people, but it just wasn't going to work for me. So Buddhism was kind of like I don't know, it was something that I thought maybe kind of could give me some structure, give me some peace, because I needed a bit of peace of mind, you know, within this snooker depression, within this sport that I really think is a tough sport. Well, it is for me, some people it might not be. I need to find that little bit of inner peace, you know, that place where I can take myself to and just kind of like feel all right about myself, you know, whether I play well or not. If I can take myself to that place where I think, you know, life's okay, then I'm able to probably cope with the demands of snooker. So Buddhism was a good one for me, because it allowed me to just try and just find that contentment without handing my life over to this higher power that already had the plan made, you know. So for me, when I looked at like a God in a way, I kind of thought, if he's already made the decisions, what's the point of me putting in the effort? You know? I mean, I could try really hard all day, and yet he's already made the decision. And that really bothered me. But with Buddhism, there was none of that. It was just like, you just find your own peace, your own rhythm, and kind of like you still have an element of control of what the outcome can be. You know, I never like to feel like that I have no control out of the outcome of any situation. So Buddhism worked really well for me, and I still kind of hold on to some of them teachings, you know, because sometimes...
What was the main teachings you got from it?
I think what it was just about...
He further added, "At that point in my life, I wasn't happy, and I was doing that to try to be happy. It got hold of me rather than me being in control of it, and that felt like a shit place to be." This honesty about his struggles with substance abuse provides context for some of the erratic behavior fans have witnessed over the years. While O'Sullivan found recovery and achieved sobriety, he acknowledged that he still drinks occasionally. In his words, he said, "I'm not clean and sober now, though. I still have a good drink and this and that, but I know not to get too involved." O'Sullivan's recent withdrawal from the Masters tournament is not an isolated incident. It follows his pulling out of his final Championship League group game just a day earlier. These withdrawals, along with visible frustration during recent performances, paint a picture of a player struggling with the pressures of the sport. During a recent Championship League match where he lost 3-2 to Robert Milkins, O'Sullivan was seen hammering his cue against the table after missing an easy pink. He later disposed of the same cue in a bin, though officials later retrieved it. These actions, while not uncommon in the heat of competition, take on new significance in light of O'Sullivan's recent statements. O'Sullivan's complicated relationship with fame adds another layer to his struggles. He expressed discomfort with public attention and celebrity encounters, stating, "I don't really like people, to be honest, let alone celebrities. I'm not a lover of people, so I try and steer clear of them." His struggles with fan interactions are particularly telling. O'Sullivan described the hardest part of being famous as making small talk, saying he disliked fans with silly, childish, idiotic grins on their faces. He bluntly stated, "I don't mind if people talk to me, but when they've got those stupid grins, then they can fuck off." Despite his current struggles and misgivings about his career choice, O'Sullivan's achievements in snooker are undeniable. He is a 7-time world champion and has earned more than £14 million in prize money throughout his career. His 8 Masters titles stand as evidence of his dominance in the sport. One of the most significant positive influences in O'Sullivan's career has been sports psychologist Steve Peters. O'Sullivan credits Peters with rekindling his interest in snooker after he had enough of playing. The key advice from Peters that resonated with O'Sullivan was, "Life is fickle. Don't get bogged down with it." This counsel helped O'Sullivan navigate the emotional highs and lows of his career. O'Sullivan described his work with Peters as transformative. He explained, "I'd kind of given up on everything at the time. I'd had enough of playing snooker, but when I met Steve, he got my interest going again. At the time, everyone else was just saying, be positive, and I was fed up with hearing the word positive. Then Steve said, I'm not going to tell you to be positive because that doesn't work, which intrigued me and made me think there's a science to it, and I'm quite science-based. This approach resonated with O'Sullivan, who added, I'm not one to leave it up to the gods. I believe that if you get the recipe right, it's going to be good, and that's what I bought into with Steve. The key ingredient for O'Sullivan was understanding that he was being hijacked by one part of my brain. He learned to deal with this and not be controlled by his emotions, which had previously led to self-sabotage. O'Sullivan's relationship with snooker began in his childhood, with fond memories of playing at Pontins in Hemsby, Great Yarmouth, as an 8-year-old. He recalls, I used to love just hanging out in the arcades with all my mates, being naughty, misbehaving, playing snooker, going to bed late and being around loads of snooker people. I loved snooker at once, even though I was pretty average at first. It was only when I got to about 12 I thought, I'm actually not that bad at this game. However, these early experiences weren't all positive. O'Sullivan also recounted getting banned from Pontins for misbehavior. He described an incident where he threw a glass of Coke at a friend, which ended up hitting an old granny's face. I was bang in trouble, so from that moment on, I had to learn to behave, he said. Despite these early mishaps, snooker clubs became a refuge for O'Sullivan. He described them as his church, saying, It was my place of safety and peace. It wasn't just the game, it was the people and the environment, especially Orford Snooker Club in Walthamstow. It was more like a home to me than anywhere I've ever been. I used to spend all my life down there. I'd eat down there. I'd play down there. I'd go to the gym next door. It was everything to me. O'Sullivan's career has been marked by numerous highs, including his victory in the 2012 World Championship. He describes this as the best day of his life, saying, When I won the World Championships in 2012 and my son, little Ronnie, who was about 4 or 5 at the time, was there, I had 2 really bad years, and I felt like I'd been written off, and then I started working with the sports psychologist Steve Peters. I was playing well, but I just wasn't getting any results, and I thought, what's going on here? Normally, if I play well, I win a lot, but because I hadn't done anything for 2 years, it felt like karma. You have to earn the respect of the game again, but I didn't know that at the time. At that moment, I thought, maybe I'm done. Then everything came together, and I won the tournament, and having my son there to witness it made it even more special. Another career highlight for O'Sullivan was winning the 2014 Welsh Open. He describes this as his best moment on a snooker table, saying, I played really well from start to finish in that tournament and finished off with 147 against Ding Junhui. I was playing great. I was in my prime. Everything felt good. The game felt easy. I didn't realize how easy it was until you start to struggle, and then you think, God, it's actually a hard game. But at the time, it felt really easy. I just felt like I could do anything. As O'Sullivan struggles with his feelings about his career, speculation about his future in the sport is rife. Fellow player Judd Trump believes O'Sullivan won't be seen many more times in the wake of his shock Masters withdrawal. Trump stated, "He's someone, from what I can tell, he probably wants to have one big last hurrah and get out of here. To be honest, it could be any point where one more world championship and he calls it a day.